Ability and me this Sunday, 9 o'clock on BBC2. It's worth a watch.
Right then, it's time for a gear change, literally, because our next film tonight is all about Formula One.
Yes, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the World Championship, so Anita Rani took a pit stop to Silverstone to soak up the history and meet some real legends of the sport.
This year, as the Formula One World Drivers' Championship celebrates its 70th anniversary, it will feel very different on the racetrack. At Silverstone, home of the British Grand Prix, the stands will be empty.
But even without the fans here, the teams, the engineers and the drivers will still be looking to put on a show.
Racing superstars have popped corks to captivated crowds. But if you ask them who got them on the podium, they'd probably point towards the pit lane. Lando Norris is the youngest British driver in Formula One history and is part of a new generation of British drivers who'll be competing at this year's British Grand Prix.
Just how important are the mechanics?
There's a lot of things that rely on them. It's not just me and how fast I can drive the car. There's a lot of things that mechanics and engineers need to do to make sure the operation runs smoothly. You know, when people say it's a team effort, they really do mean it.
In the pit lane, every moment lost can affect the outcome of a race. Today, a set of tyres can be changed in just 2 seconds. But in the past, things were distinctly more low-tech, and the mechanics, who had to improvise far more, had an intimate insight into some of the sport's nail-biting moments. 5 times between 1962 and 1967, the British Grand Prix was won by Jim Clark. Cedric Seltzer was his mechanic.
Cedric, you're all steering wheel and no car.
Yeah, it must have fallen off. No, this is a steering wheel from Jim Clark's championship-winning cars from 1961.
Amazing. Is that a car that you would have worked on?
I worked on the car, yes. It takes me back. I'm completely addicted to motor racing, I'm afraid. I've been taking it intravenously all my life.
So what was it like being his mechanic?
He was just an absolute natural. Jimmy just had that really light touch. His tyres lasted 4 races and the brake pads lasted half a season because he was so light on a car. We were all geared up to actually winning races. When everybody else had gone to bed, I might still be checking over and over, double-checking and making sure that, you know, nothing's going to break.
But at Silverstone, in 1965, something did go badly wrong.
The car had lost its oil pressure, or the oil had seeped out of the engine, and every time the car went round a circuit, the oil pressure dropped. So he decided to switch the engine off round the bends and just coast round, and he won the race.
Jim Clark's win was one of the most remarkable drives in Grand Prix history.
It was part of my life, and the cars of those periods, I'm still in love with them.
If Jim Clark was the calm, laid-back driver of the 60s, the 70s brought more fame, more glamour and more money to the sport.
One British racer who epitomised the new breed of rock star driver with Hollywood good looks was James Hunt. He won the Formula One World Championship in 1976 and lived fast both on and off the track. One person who helped engineer his winning car was Alistair Caldwell.
His nickname was Hunt the Shunt because he crashed a lot in Formula 3. But a lot of young drivers crash when they're new. It's part of the learning curve. But we came here testing in the wintertime. We had to cut the ends of his shoes off because his feet were too tall to go inside the car. We had to move the pedals forward. And then we went off to the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is his first race. And within 2 hours, he was on pole.
What did James Hunt do for F1?
James was great for Grand Prix racing because he was just quick. That's all race teams are really interested in. He was fast and he didn't crash the car. What
was it like back when you were designing these cars?
The testing we did, we had a minivan and we had posts with a wing and the top. And we used to drive down the M4 at 70 miles an hour with a string measuring the drag and some bathroom scales measuring the downforce. So that was our wind tunnel.
Engineering has come a long way since then.
With drivers continuing to push their cars to the limit, this year is likely to be as thrilling as championships of the past. It is good to see F1 back in pole position.
Well, the